compared to the Black Card, which 104,000 people in the world have, only 5,000 people have this credit card, the $10 million invite-only JP Morgan Reserve Card. Now, this card is actually so exclusive that most people actually haven't even heard of it. So in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly what this card is, what the benefits are all about, and I'm going to be sharing with you some secret little tips on how you can one day get it for yourself as well. Towards the end, I got to actually tell you whether or not it's worth getting this card, so stick around for that. So first of all, the JP Morgan Reserve Card comes with a long list of benefits. For starters, you'll be earning 10x points per dollar spent on hotels and rental cars purchased through the Chase Ultimate Rewards portal. You also get 10x points per dollar spent on dining purchases through Chase Dining, and you'll get 5x Ultimate Reward points for every dollar spent on flights through that same Chase Ultimate Rewards portal, with then getting 3x points per dollar on all other travel and dining purchases, and then 1 point per dollar on everything else. Now, although there are arguably some cards better than that, those benefits aren't too bad, especially with the fact that you can get up to 10% back just by booking on their native portal, which has access to pretty much every flight that you can think of. It's not only the cash back though, but with this card, you'll also find you can get $300 in statement credits for travel related purchases every single year that you hold the card. You'll be getting a $100 statement credit for global entry or TSA pre-check. In addition to that, you'll be getting complimentary DoorDash Dash Pass subscriptions with a priority pass lounge access, comprehensive travel insurance, including trip cancellation and interruption insurance. And you'll also get no foreign transaction fees, and also the access to exclusive Chase VIP events and experiences. On top of that, your points are worth 50% or more when you do redeem for airfare, hotels, or car rentals, and even cruises through that Chase Ultimate Rewards portal. If any of you guys have ever gone into some of the higher tier luxury credit cards, well, Chase's most expensive credit card that you can get as a public offer, not invitation only, would be the Chase Sapphire Reserve Card that has an annual fee of $550 compared to this card, which has a total annual fee of $595. So where does the whole $10 million idea come from if the annual fee is very similar to the Chase Sapphire Reserve? Not only that, I mean, it's even the cashback benefits, it's just how the card operates, and even the travel credits and protection too. Well, some of the more special things that you do get with the JP Morgan Reserve Card, by the way, which was also called the Palladium Card, is that you have special access to a concierge line where you can get great customer service at any hour of the day to help with recommendations, bookings, reservations, event tickets, and more. If you're thinking this is also very similar to the American Express Black Centurion card, where they also have a special phone number that you can call anytime and get you some crazy things, like hearing stories of, if a Justin Bieber concert is all sold out and you can't get tickets, like they would find a way to get you tickets for that. This is very similar to it, and some people have reported that it's almost even better than American Express. Now, it's a little bit debatable, but you just have to realize that with a card like this, you get VIP access to any airport, and you can also get VIP access to most events too. Now, on top of that, ladies and gents, there is something you need to know, and that is just exclusivity and bragging rights when it comes to having this card. Unless you're some crazy real estate mogul or you're a genuine 100 millionaire or even a billionaire, there's not that many times you're ever going to see the JP Morgan Reserve Card ever in person. Now, when it comes to some mandatory requirements in getting the invitation to access the exclusive card, there are going to be a few things that you would need if you're ever interested in picking one up. The first and biggest one is the fact that you do need to have $10 million in assets managed by JP Morgan's private client bank. So I've also been a client of JP Morgan's private bank industry, which is also called JP Morgan Private Client, or you also have the JP Morgan Platinum Banking Experience. Now, what's cool is once you have access to this, you actually open up a whole world of JP Morgan products, and this is where they actually discover whether or not you would get approved or even invited for a card like this. To give you an idea though, just think of Chase being like the beginner, everyday consumer's bank. You have the Chase Freedom Card, the Chase Sapphire Preferred Card. You have a lot of these beginner products, and they have a great selection of other cards that you can get into. What Chase and a lot of these bigger banks are going to do is by looking at your income, they can actually separate you from being like a shrimp to a bigger fish to even a whale. Each individual group actually has their own assigned dedicated manager, and if you end up making a lot of money and you become within that whale status, that product manager will eventually be able to invite you to a card like this. Even as an example, there's a Reddit user who reportedly had the JP Morgan Reserve card, and he had answered the question to would be interested in hearing your insights on how to get access to the card, with his reply being, I went through the JP Morgan advisor and he sent me the application right away when I requested it and was approved like 3 days later. So if you have a Chase private client advisor, they should be able to get you the application as well. If not, a JP Morgan advisor would certainly get you one too. All right, so with that being said, here are some additional tips that I have to help you getting started on trying to get this credit card within your wallet. Now, first, most important thing is to make sure that no matter where you go, always build a strong relationship with a manager. The stronger your relationship is with either an individual who works there or even just JP Morgan itself, the more likely that you're gonna have the necessary strings in order to get invited and to apply for this card. As an example, I have about 4 to 5 different contacts at JP Morgan Chase. I can call them at any time, so I don't even have to wait in lines, or if there's just, some kind of wire or just some emergency that I need, I have the cell phone numbers that I can just call and hit them up and be like, okay, can you help me get this? Now, in an instance like this, if I'm trying to get a higher tier invite only card, I'd have much better chances of actually getting the invitation if I'm able to contact someone at the bank rather than just calling a generic public phone. So what this means is you're still gonna have to invest a bit of time into this bank, and you're gonna have to invest some of your money, and you're also gonna have to work with your private banker to develop that long-term plan for what you wanna do with them. Now, on the chance that you don't have a $250,000 to be a JP Morgan private client account holder, you can also start by working your way through Chase's product offerings from the bottom going to the top. Now, this is exactly what I've done. I had the basic Chase card with no annual fee, now getting to a point where hopefully one day I do get the JP Morgan Reserve card too. But if you guys want to follow my journey and see exactly what I've done step by step, I have a full ultimate beginner's guide here on YouTube to help you get started and explains a little bit more on some of the steps that I've taken to achieve what I've done. Now, another thing that you're going to have to do is make sure you maintain a high spending account within their bank. In addition to that, there are going to be different ways that you can get this card. Instead of just showing how much cash you might have, you could also showcase different career achievements or even philanthropic endeavors that you might have. In addition to networking and also racking up the amount of money that you have in your bank accounts, you can simply just network in and make sure that they have an idea of what you do for your career or some of the achievements that you've had. The most important thing to know about the JP Morgan Reserve card is the fact that you're going to hear you need $10 million in order to get approved for this card or even ever invited. Now, I think $10 million is just a gray line. I don't think it's necessarily the minimum requirement, but you also have to realize it's not $10 million in cash, but there are multiple reports of the fact that if you have $10 million under management alongside JP Morgan Chase, where it could be additional houses, it could be mortgages, these things can help you get approved in addition to all the things that I've mentioned. My rule of thumb, no matter what I do, whether it's a watch brand or a specific car, you'll notice that I tend to commit to one brand and I try to stay with them for a long time. This is because there's benefits when you are loyal to one specific brand instead of having 10 or 20 different brands that you might have. As an example, I decided that my favorite German brand was going to be an Audi. I had an Audi S5. After that, I had the Audi R7, and there are actually only about 300 of these Audi R8 GTs that are built in the entire world, and I was able to get an allocation on one of those vehicles from my dealership. That's because I've actually built up the reputation, those relationships, I've worked my way up the scene. So ladies and gents, though, I think the real question though isn't how you can get this card, but whether or not this card is really worth the hype and whether or not it's actually worth going for. At this point, you should realize that the card offers some superior benefits compared to, the American Express Centurion card, which has a very high annual fee compared to the $595 annual fee that you pay with the JP Morgan Reserve instead. I think for the year 2023, with all the flexing aside, it might even be better if you decided, instead of one day putting all the $10 million I have into just one single bank, it might be better to have it invested where you can earn dividends or you can earn interest. And from there, you can just get the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which has some very similar benefits to the JP Morgan Reserve card. If you happen to be a billionaire watching this video and money means nothing to you, go right ahead. I don't think it hurts at all. But if you are just an everyday Joe, I would look past the fact that it is invite only and realize the Chase Sapphire Reserve is almost the smarter card because you're paying a little bit less of an annual fee. You get all the similar benefits. You don't need to be locking up absurd amount of cash that most people may not even see within their lifetime, except you guys. the Jung Nation, y'all are gonna get all of your cash. Now, if you do want to learn more about getting cards like the Chase Sapphire Reserve, or even just trying to get started within the whole credit card space, be sure to check out the link down below in the description to learn more, or scan the QR code on the screen right here. If you're watching it on your TV or your YouTube video website player on your laptop, use your phone, scan the QR code, and you can also check out the link in getting started with any one of these cards. Like always, if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and follow me over on Twitter and on Instagram as well if you haven't done so already, because I post some additional content and gems on social media over there as well. And thank you all again for watching, and until next time, peace out.